Welcome to Shaq's house. That's our Shaq. You're now in Shaq's house.
Hey, what's up, Shaq Housers? How you doing? Happy Black History Month from the one and only Shaq House. Yes! Yeah, I hope your Black History Month has been starting off well. Shout out right quick, R.I.P. to Carl Weathers. Yeah, he was more than Apollo Creed, Dylan, or what's it called, that dude from Happy Gilmore. Yeah, he was a cultural icon. Rest in peace, and it's a hell of a way to start off Black History Month. But in celebration of Black History Month, what have I got for you today? A little expose, a rundown on two obscure Black Marvel mutant X-Men characters, the BEDLAM Brothers. That's right, Jesse and Christopher Aaronson. That's right, one disrupts machinery, one disrupts minds. But who are they? Some of you might be asking. And some of you may not be asking, but might want to know more. Well, here's your chance. Check it out.
BEDLAM. BEDLAM's mutant power generated electromagnetic interference, scrambling any electronic device in his range that he focused on. He could use his power to disrupt various forms of machinery, from as simple as popping open an electronic lock to crashing an entire power plant or computer network. Through practice, he learned how to produce a neural EMP, an electromagnetic pulse attuned to the electrochemical processes of the human brain, temporarily shutting down the minds of any living thing caught in his blast radius. Through precision and skill, BEDLAM could use his mutant power to trigger certain responses in the human body that are controlled by electrochemical activity, such as pain, for example. BEDLAM was also sensitive to electromagnetic waves, enabling him to detect the presence of electronic systems and pick up certain transmitting wavelengths mentally. King BEDLAM. King BEDLAM had the mutant ability to produce telepathic interference. This psionic effect protects his own mind from being manipulated by telepaths and can be projected outwards to disorient and disable his opponents. People affected by his power may become incapable of concentrating on any conscious action and might even be completely disabled to the point where they can't even stand up, collapsing into a semi-conscious heap. A signature of his mutant power is that his victims began randomly speaking disconnected words. Some fun facts. It was their Age of Apocalypse counterparts, their Earth 295 variants, who debuted years before their 616 versions. In the Age of Apocalypse, Jesse and Terry, which is how Chris was known back then, Jesse and Terry Aaronson were inseparably known as the BEDLAM Brothers and were part of Apocalypse's elite mutant force, which consisted of pairs of mutant siblings, the Summers brothers, the Bobier siblings, the Guthrie siblings, etc. But unlike some of the other prelates, the BEDLAM Brothers showed little overt contempt for humanity. Eventually, they decided that being part of the elite ring was not fun anymore, and they joined forces with that reality's Cyclops and Jean Grey to bring down Apocalypse. As stated, in the 616 reality, Terry is named Christopher, and both him and Jesse manifested their powers at an early age. Their parents, Kyle and Nina Aaronson, were government employees, information analysts for the National Security Department. They were killed in a car crash, leaving both boys orphaned. Jesse went through the foster system and several therapists due to the stress of losing his family. But when his mutant powers manifested, one of his doctors sought to use him as a means of fame and fortune, but Jesse was rescued by the pro-mutant Muse, M-U-S-E, the Mutant Underground Support Engine. They raised him, trained him in the use of his powers, where he gained the codename BEDLAM. Long story short, he left Muse to find his brother, joined the Domino-led X-Force, and eventually found his brother Chris leading a new team of Hellions as King BEDLAM. He briefly reunited with his big brother, but turned against him after learning that A, he wanted to control the very dangerous Armageddon Man, and B, Chris was responsible for their parents' death. You see, he was angry at their father and used his powers to make him insane and cause the fatal car crash. Chris has not been seen since and was presumed depowered on M-Day. But Jesse rejoined X-Force, where under the tutelage of Pete Wisdom, he gained greater control over his powers. His power now went beyond disrupting electronic machinery. He had significantly increased his range, could produce directional electromagnetic pulses, sense electric and biomagnetic fields, and influence human neurochemistry. But Jesse's biggest new trick was his neural EMP, a biofield bomb blast that shut down and rebooted any human brains in his vicinity, and he can drop entire armies with a single attack. Now, the BEDLAM brothers, or the Aaronson brothers, whatever you want to call them, their mutant powers are to basically emanate energy waves that create disturbances in specific energy signals. For Jesse, it's electromagnetic. For Chris, it's telepathic. Now, Jesse, with his power, he could have potentially been an electromagnetic antenna, but I could still see Magneto or Polaris being superior to him and turning his power against him in that respect. But Chris? His power is to create a force field around his own mind. And when that force field is projected outwards and touches other minds, it makes him spout word salads. Hell, not even a sufficiently powerful telepath can get through it. Charles Xavier, the Marvel Girl, Kid Omega, or Emma Frost in particular. I mean, look at this right here. When Emma tried to recruit King Bedlam to become part of her original Hellions, look how he just clowned and rejected her, much to her disgust. Look at this. Chris, he's the psychopathic big brother that one looks up to until you learn just how crazy he really is. Jesse, he's the good-hearted younger sibling who just got dealt a bad hand, which got even worse thanks to Chuck Austin's run on Uncanny X-Men, where he decided to kill off a few mutants, including Jesse, by crucifying them on the X-Mansion's lawn. But thanks to Krakoa, he made a complete resurrection recovery. Jesse and Chris, could their powers affect one another? I say yes. Why? Because not all mutant siblings are Cyclops and Havoc, people. Come on. Jesse was given some tongue-in-cheek shine on the big screen in 2018's Deadpool Part 2, where he was played by Terry Crews, had his power compared to a Dave Matthews Band album, and gets killed in pure slapstick fashion. Now, the BEDLAM brothers, they're often overlooked and forgotten African-American mutant characters in Marvel's history. Now, there aren't that many black mutants in Marvel, but the Aaronsons were born to a solid middle-class family, which came to a literal crashing end, all because the oldest brother wanted to act like a more mentally composed Debo from Friday. I say bring them back, expand on them and their powers. Alright, Shackhousers, that's what I got for you this week. Next week, I'm going to do another Black Marvel character. Maybe it's a mutant, maybe it won't be. But tune in, and I'll see you then. Have a good week. Later!
Mansion, apartment.
Shack house. Yes!
Yeah.